Hello and welcome along to 442 Arsenal. Tottenham Hotspur won the Europa League final, beating Manchester United 1-0. It's their first trophy in 17 years. And to be honest, it was a very cagey affair. Neither team really demanded the game. Neither team were kind of, you could say that they were outright the better team. Maybe you could give it to Spurs that they had a better game plan. It was a very simple game plan. Let United come at them, defend, get them on the counter-attack, and that worked. United, they were poor. They weren't the same as they were in the semi-finals. But to be honest, they were kind of themselves like they've been all year, and that's what you're going to get when a team is 16th. And I think overall, it was a poor game. But again, 16th against 17th, what do you expect? I mean, it was a very big drop down from last year. You had Atlanta finishing high in the Italian league, and you had Bayern Leverkusen winning the German league, both very respectful domestic leagues, and two teams finishing high in it, and two teams in Premier League who are barely above relegation. But I'm not here to talk about the Europa League final. I'm here to talk about the elephant in the room. What does it mean now that Tottenham Hotspur have won a European title? Arsenal fan, I think it's not the same as 2019 when they could have won the Champions League final. That would have been a huge blow to Arsenal. But I think if you would ask me who would I rather be in Spurs' position or Arsenal position, I would choose Arsenal's position. I know people want to win trophies, but you have to look at it in terms of like practicality. Your club has lost 21 games this year. Obviously, you're going to have Champions League football next year. Are they prepared for it? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt if they're going to a full football campaign. They had time to prepare for the Europa League final. They won't have time next year to have 2 games a week, obviously playing Champions League football, which is very high standard. So that's going to play a huge toll on them, and they're not prepared for it. Obviously, if Spurs were like say 6th or 7th in the league this year and they won the Europa League, I'd probably say I'd prefer Spurs' position. But I don't. But that doesn't mean I can't acknowledge what Spurs have done. Of course, they've won a European title, what Arsenal have failed to do. I know Arsenal are competing for higher standards, which is the Premier League and the Champions League, and we came second, and it was a poor Premier League. Even though we came second, well, it looks like we're going to come second, it was a overall poor performance from us this year. We never really competed properly for the Premier League. We looked more likely to compete for the Champions League, and to be honest, we were outplayed by PSG, and it showcased like that we're not at the level of like say Barcelona, Inter Milan, PSG. They have squad depth, and that's a huge point that I want to mention, that we have to buy players this summer. We have to buy a striker. I know we've already brought in a midfielder, but we need squad depth. Injuries this year was a huge factor. But another major point is Mikel Arteta has to deliver next year. What this means of Tottenham win the Europa League, this means that we have to deliver, because we know what Tottenham fans are going to be saying about us. Where's your European title? So that's going to linger until we win a Premier League or a Champions League. And to be honest, I don't think any of us want to drop down to Europa League and go win a Europa League. I don't think anybody wants that. We need to deliver. We need to win trophies, and it's been 5 years now without a trophy, and I think kudos to Mikel Arteta for raising the standards, bringing us to a new level. But nobody's going to care about that level. Nobody's going to care about that level unless we win it, unless we win some. And Spurs is a perfect example. Spurs have been awful this year, finishing 17th or possibly 16th this year, and they've won a Europa League title, and nobody's going to remember that. Nobody's going to care about that because they won some. And that's what has to be next year. Arsenal have to win things. And I'm not going to go on, getting into, specifics and, talking about this all day. I am Arteta in, and I think that is just how simple it has to be. I think we just have to deliver next year. And, that's really all I want to talk about. I think, again, Spurs will be Tech European title, of course. Champions League is the main one to win, and we obviously failed at doing that this year. We looked like we could at least got to a final, and we didn't do that. We fell short again. But I think what it takes from last night anyway is we seriously need to start winning things. And we already knew we had to seriously start winning things, but I think it's just more now the fact that our main rivals have won a trophy that we've never won. and we're never going to really stop hearing that until we actually win a major trophy ourselves. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about, and thank you for watching.